I do not hate this comic/concept art first movie recap, and these are definitely Spider-Man 2 style opening credits. And Danny Elfman manages to somehow improve on his amazing score.
But I will lose the customer forever to Pizza Here.
Better watch out for Pizza Shanty and Pizza Shack, but I do hear Pizza Cabana is going under.
You have to go 42 blocks in 7.5 minutes, or your ass is fired. Go!
Encouragement?
Whoa! He stole that guy's pizza!
That might be the best line. Wait, that's Ashy Larry.
No playing in the streets.
Yes, Mr. Spider-Man.
I know that After Hours probably did, or at least could do, a reasons why a New York City with Spider-Man swinging around would actually be terrible, but I want to live here, where my kids grow up knowing to revere
Mr. Spider-Man.
See ya.
Man, it is weird to see Bones acting all not uptight. And Emily Deschanel kicks off our line of actors who appear in Spider-Man 2 who blew up at a later date.
You've turned the whole city against him.
A fact I'm very proud of.
As if Raimi knew how much everyone loved JK in the first film, so he decided to throw him right up front in this movie.
Food poisoning scare sweeps city.
Some food got poisoned?
I'm a little nauseous, yeah.
Also, J.K. Simmons is always a win. We're still sure it's not Parker Posey, huh? Anyway, as much as everyone hates the third movie in this trilogy, they've been slowly building their flirtation up to set up that movie. Raimi was the king of continuity before interconnected universes. This opening is such a great contrast between Spider-Man the quippy, nearly infallible hero and the always late, goofy, constantly getting fired and disappointing everyone, except maybe Betty, Peter Parker. How was Lizard not the main or secondary villain in 3?
The studio push for Venom?
Oh. I mean, clearly Raimi was planning it. He name-dropped him in the last film.
So where you been, pal? You don't return my calls.
I've been busy.
But not killing your dad, so just stop it.
Happy birthday, dear Peter.
Harry Osborn's very minor singing role. Seriously, Franco, nobody can have it all.
For a second there, I thought I was years ago. Everybody's gone, aren't they?
Sly double entendre. Nice, Raimi.
For God's sake, it's not much. Now take it. And don't you dare leave it here.
I guess it's cool that Aunt May is young and Marissa Tomei now, but no one's ever going to beat Rosemary Harris's performance. No, not even Sally Field.
Hey.
I didn't even notice her, but she was there.
I'm seeing somebody now.
Oh. Therapy.
Sensitivity.
I'm really sorry, Mr. Dickovich.
Ha! Mr. Steve Ditkovich?
Hi, Pete.
Cooking lessons, oh my gosh. Ursula's a librarian for magicians.
Hi.
Hi. What's hi? Can I spend it?
I know they can't all be Ozymandias or Doctor Strange, but it's hard to see someone who tries to do so much good, barely making ends meet, and have everyone always assume you're something you're not.
He also tells me you're lazy.
And it sets up the conflict of this film perfectly.
An exponential increase in energy output.
Basically, it's like that kid holding a magnet out in front of his skateboard to achieve perpetual motion. Basically. If only we could get past that pesky first law of thermodynamics.
Rosie, our new friend thinks I'm gonna blow up the city.
Well...
Feed her poetry.
A really sweet moment between these two that helps us understand why he loses it later. If love and poetry are more complex and important than physics...
Work out, plenty of rest, you know, eat your green vegetables.
Healthy living advice.
It's a web.
What? Jasmine almost got killed by a flying cop car? I hope Crosby thanks Spidey. Also, just have to point out that she's credited as Woman at Web. Nice. Yep. Sometimes Ash gives you your superhero name. Sometimes he ruins your love life. Can't win them all, but Bruce Campbell comes close. Personally, I was always a little confused by Peter losing his powers, but this time around I noticed this line.
If you keep something as complicated as love stored up inside, it's gonna make you sick.
And it's precisely after Peter bottles his emotions again in the alley and then witnesses the love of his life kissing someone else that his web fails him.
I just want to say I really like what you do. I think it's great.
Thanks.
Compliments.
You could do a men's cologne called Thwip.
Free branding consultation.
Before we start, has anybody lost a large roll of $20 bills in a rubber band? Because we found the rubber band.
Dad jokes. Is that gin? Did anyone not get a break after being in a Raimi Spider-Man film?
These 4 actuators were developed and programmed for the sole purpose of creating successful fusion.
And also, murder. Doc Ock's tentacles are some of the coolest mix of puppets, robotics, and CG effects still to this day. And the insane level of detail and specificity is sensational. Dude, That's a brutal way to go out. But I do appreciate this very bloodless comic death, even if half her face should be missing.
Anybody here take shop class?
You're all going to die in a terrifying yet amusing way. It's like Sam Raimi has this dark horror movie brewing under the surface of his skin at all times, and sometimes he just can't control it. See what I mean? Seriously, there are kids watching. He's also a tad obsessed with eyeballs in this one. More fun credits, this guy is Chainsaw Doctor, and here's Clawing Nurse. I think you mean yes. Also, I love the way Melina's face is showing fear, and it's almost as if his subconscious mind telegraphs what it would want, and then the tentacles flip the card to his surprise. An awesome comic panel looking shot either way, but I like that it's set up that he can probably see through the claws since they were producing a video feed and interfacing with his brain. So some sort of sensory perception at least.
Guy named Otto Octavius winds up with 8 limbs. What are the odds?
1 in 8?
Science Squid?
Crap.
Doctor Strange.
That's pretty good.
Ha! Quick, Marvel Studios, call your lawyers, sue Fox once and for all!
I heard Spider-Man was there.
Love this little nod to Robbie being one of the few who knew Spider-Man's secret identity just with a look.
The inhibitor chip. Gone.
Okay, this is just the best. The way this claw zooms into frame and uses its lower finger as a mandible? This whole conversation with the limbs is outstanding, like little raptor snake devils whispering in his ear. He's fighting it, but they're winning. And while the tentacles are said to have AI, they seem to be almost the manifestation of Otto's id exerting itself, as in the base, instinctual, or primal part of the brain. A perfect example is when he flips the taxi. Based on the look on Otto's face, his superego, or conscience, is saying, "Oh crap," while his id is flipping cars. And that's been your crappy pseudopsychology lesson for the week.
Power of the sun in the palm of my hand.
And I love that this was set up.
Power of the sun in the palm of my hand.
Even people with the best of intentions can still get driven crazy by power.
At least we get the toaster.
Actually, that's only with a deposit of 300 or more.
Jeff Winger's audition for the soup. Ha! Unwrap everything wrong with that one, correction commenters. Saving Aunt May.
Here's your change!
That's some hard cash. Usually I save the so-and-sos don't even care for respected actors, but oh crap, this woman earned it. Random blonde model girl doesn't even care. Oh my gosh, that's Ross's girlfriend, Mona.
Hand her over!
Proof that Spider-Man is smarter than Batman. Though, choice of wording doesn't seem to matter when up against a supervillain. Well, now I have to take back what I said in Spider-Man 1, as this is the quickest Stan Lee cameo. This fight is awesome. Both humans are zoomorphized into their respective animals, and it's really like watching a giant spider fight an octopus. The way Doc Ock keeps wrapping Spidey up in his tentacles. Saving Aunt May again.
Beautiful tie.
Oh, no, get a shot of us with the DA.
Beautiful dress.
You gotta love how Jay Jonah's wife has been with him long enough to know exactly how to keep up with him. That's the second time Peter's been in a crowd of people seeing the girl he loves with someone else.
Oh no.
And now it's official. He had slips before, but now that Harry hates him and declared so publicly and MJ is engaged, his powers are almost completely useless. But I tend to agree with the doctor that the problem is actually in his mind. He may still have all his powers, but his love for MJ is messing with his head too much to perform. And I love this callback to the first film with him realizing he's losing his powers the same way he learned he had them in the first place.
I'm Spider-Man. No more.
Reference to the comic cover with the same storyline. And Peter Parker just being Peter Parker and not Spider-Man montage is the fastest way to make you keep watching the movie even though Spider-Man's apparently dead. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this freeze frame homage to, I don't even know, something. 90s television, I guess? So far, the 2.1 extended cut has been fine, but holy crap does this make it all worth it. J.K. Simmons doesn't even care.
I could have stopped him, but I wanted revenge. So I let him go.
Coming clean. And I appreciate that Aunt May's response is realistic. She wouldn't be able to immediately forgive him, so just pile on.
Some poor soul got trapped on the 4th floor. Never made it out.
This is an interesting sequence. The reason it's here is to show that there are consequences to his absence even when he thinks he's being the hero, although technically this little girl saved him. So anyway, it's a slight step towards him trying to come back. Which,
I'm back! I'm back!
Unfortunately doesn't go that well, but it's good for a laugh.
My back! Oh, my back!
And is something that I quote to my wife to this day. Also, if you're wondering why Peter's not dead, no one ever said his powers were completely 100% gone.
Too few characters out there flying around like that, saving old girls like me.
Yeah, that used to be the case, But I mean, we're coming up on the third one of you, so...
Hold on a second longer.
Number 1, Aunt May knows, which of course she does, which is why she never scolds Peter for abandoning her in the bank. And number 2, what appropriate advice for later.
Would you like a piece of chocolate cake?
Another strange scene that always made me feel weird because... No, stop that, because MJ. But also, aww, she's sweet and it's nice to see Peter get a tiny break from being smacked around by the world. All that to say, generosity. Who is this guy? He's like a poor man's Casper Van Dien. Anyway, comparing kisses is a terrible litmus test, but I'm on board if it gets her running back to Peter. Oh my gosh, that's Klaus's brother Elijah.
Hiya.
I don't think I've ever actually heard someone say hiya. Written, sure. Always thought it was weird. But if it's good enough for Spider-Man, it's good enough for me. Although he did also say,
Oh boy, yeah.
Doc Ock catches some flack for this, and yeah, it was probably a dumb move. But he's a crazy supervillain being controlled by octopus claws that don't care about human life. And Harry didn't say don't maim or paralyze Peter, just
Don't hurt Peter!
Also, the rule of cool totally abides. Yeah, he's back. And I love that saving MJ again is what kicks his Spidey sense into gear as his first power to return to him. So also saving MJ. This is still the best Spider-Man set piece in the series and still one of the best comic book movie action set pieces ever. Starting with the fight in the clock tower as they throw clock pieces at each other, then falling down to the top of the train with some of the most memorable shots from the series. In the train, and then on the train, and then on the side of the train. Such a great usage of each of their abilities. And the choreography of this fight is really like a dance, with each of them using the other's advances against them. Street skiing. Oh man, that train's headed to time travel speed. I like that he tries some different things before his final solution. Seriously, now Phil Lamar. And it's not like these cameos are by people trying to break into acting either. Phil had been in plenty of things since the 90s, including being a regular on Mad TV. And this is still one of the best examples of saving people ever that we technically have Aunt May to thank for.
Hold on a second longer.
And how can you not love the way they honor carry the kid who just saved all their lives? It's so satisfying for Peter, not Spider-Man, Peter to just get a little bit of recognition for saving them all.
You want to get to him, you got to go through me.
I left the New Yorkers coming to Spidey's rescue in the last movie out because, I don't know, I'm bad at my job. I also thought it was kind of weird that they were oddly specific about being New Yorkers. At least in the movie, Spidey doesn't really care about being from New York. But this time, they know who he is and it just means more, even if it's short-lived.
Not that anybody could stop me now that Spider-Man's dead.
He's not dead.
Optimism. Saving MJ again.
Dr. Octavius.
As if Peter sees his once friend return from the ether, he calls him by name.
Peter Parker. Brilliant but lazy.
Thank you. How many times does someone make a statement without all the information and then never corrects it even after they know all the facts?
Listen to me now. Listen to me now.
The way the tentacles start to cower as he imposes his superiority over them. And it's always good to see a once bad guy turn good and do the right thing. Yes, exactly the correct response. A deep sigh of relief like a weight has been lifted off of all of our chests. Saving MJ again.
Hi.
Hi.
Politeness.
This is really heavy.
And honesty.
I will not die a monster.
Self-sacrifice. Even though the outcome of this little web hangout is again annoying, I do really like that he spun a web and then spidered across it. A little appropriately used Dutch tilt to make you feel uneasy about Harry's discovery.
Avenge me!
Willem Dafoe is always a win and doesn't even care.
Avenge me.
Also, there's a whole team of people that could have helped you with that. Somber wedding, depressed bride, bridesmaids in black?
I can't survive without you.
Finally.
Go get him, Tiger.
Great line, but also the sirens that led to her affirmation of his Spider-Man-ness are a subtle callback to the first time he sees her with the astronaut and he's going to begrudgingly change it to Spider-Man. Never gets old. Oh man, a little graduate homage there? Once the dust settles and the emotions subside, life needs to go on whether you're a tiger or not. Also, what a lovely bookend to the opening shot.
Captivated I am.
Real talk, I was a Dashboard Confessional fan in high school and still am. And then the whole world adopted Chris Carrabba after this movie. But it's cool, I'm glad he got more fans. Spider-Man 2 picks up right where the first film left off in a lot of ways. I imagine it was tempting to jump right into a Spider-Man story after establishing his origin in the last film, but Raimi chose to follow Peter and his struggles as a college kid living in New York. Something you could almost guarantee a studio would squash now. No Spider-Man set piece for 30 minutes? You out of your mind? But there is a reason why so many people call this the best trilogy and Spider-Man 2 the best of the trilogy. We care about these characters. We know them. We yearn for Peter to give in and let his love for MJ known. We worry about him. We identify with his trials. Like this random train passenger says,
he's just a kid.
So it's easy for us kids to identify with him. Or it was. And make no mistake, this is a Peter Parker movie. Spider-Man is kind of a secondary character. Spider-Man doesn't win the girl, Peter does. Spider-Man doesn't save the day, Peter convinces Doc Ock through his own words to Peter. The entire stressful opening to this film is setting up how Spider-Man is ruining Peter's life. MJ wants Peter, and when he leaves as Spider-Man, it's almost as if she finally understands why Peter has kept his distance, but that gets nailed home in the next movie. Still, I can't help but be happy they're together in the end. The one thing that allows me to excuse the ending of the first film, which I mentioned last time destroyed me, is this film and its ending. This moment is so earned, and we all feel it because after everything Peter went through in this movie, he deserves his one true love. And speaking of his struggles in this film, we get a realistic look at the difference between Spider-Man and most other heroes. Batman has Alfred to cover Bruce socially, Fox to cover him professionally, not to mention a huge trust fund so he doesn't even have to work. Iron Man has Pepper, Captain America has, well, S.H.I.E.L.D. But Peter doesn't have anyone, and it isn't until the very end that it's confirmed anyone even knows who Spider-Man really is. And aside from some funny pained faces from Tobey Maguire, which to be fair this movie is full of them, he again nails his performance. Kirsten Dunst and Rosemary Harris are great at supporting Peter again as well. James Franco is one of the few actors who had to really shift his character from the first film, taking a bit of his father's obsession and slipping into his evil pajamas in preparation for becoming the Hobgoblin. This film also does a great job of setting up Spider-Man 3 with Harry as our next villain without getting bogged down with any B-plots. Otherwise, not a whole lot of new characters. Except, of course, for Alfred Molina's Dr. Octopus. He is such a great antagonist for Spider-Man. Another perfect contrasting character with two conflicting personalities mirroring Peter's own struggle. And they're two characters that start at a similar place and then go down very different paths. I love that up until this tiny little moment, which could still technically be interpreted multiple ways, Doc Ock is really just a normal scientist. No violent streak, just a lover of his wife and his work. Not interested in money or fame, just the future. Someone smarter than me should write a paper on the expression of his id through the tentacles. And like I said, his tentacles are still some of the coolest and most realistic looking comic appendages ever created. A lot of that thanks to them being actual real claws controlled robotically or by puppeteers, especially for these close-up shots. Amazing showcases of dexterity. And then anytime they use CGI, it's seamless. So this movie is amazing. I can't deny it. I still may slightly prefer the first one, but where so many sequels let us down by abandoning the story, Raimi kept everything great about the first film and added to it. Pushed these characters forward and told a compelling story while finally giving us what we wanted at the same time. And it'll definitely stand the test of time as one of the best comic book movies ever. Next week is undecided because, well, just as a quick update on my life, my son is due in a couple weeks, but we could be on our way to the hospital any minute. So there is a chance I might miss a couple weeks here and there depending on the timing. Just wanted to let you all know so you're not disappointed. Though it's okay if you're still disappointed. I do have a tiny little minuscule lead right now, so maybe I'll stay on schedule, but I sort of doubt it. Worst case, my published schedule will be a little lax for the next few weeks as I put my wife and son first. Best case, you'll never notice any difference. Either way, there will be a video next week. Thank you so much for sticking with me.